There are three key things every professional salesperson has to understand about what influences and motivates people to buy. Knowing these triggers can make the difference between getting the customer to take action or not. And when it comes to selling, buying action equals sales results. So join me as we look at why people buy. In this first of 3 episodes on buyer motivation, we're going to look at one of the core motivators that drives people to take action. This is such a primal instinct that it's often the motivation behind why people do anything in life. In selling, it is important to know that it is often the one thing that actually drives the business to do what it does, let alone the individual. So, now you're all intrigued, let me explain what this motivator is and how to use it. So the first of our buying motivators is the human need to move away from pain and the desire to move towards pleasure. So let's say that again and write it down on your worksheet. It's the need to move away from pain and the desire to move towards pleasure. So what does this mean? Well, you know yourself that things that cause you any kind of discomfort are things you would not want to endure for any length of time or experience at all, if possible. If it's excessively hot, you would go somewhere cooler. If it's excessively cold, you would want to go somewhere warmer. And it's the same in business. If a company or an individual within any business unit is experiencing any kind of discomfort, let's say things costing too much, processes taking too long, losing too many customers, not hitting the right margins, etc., whatever it might be, that business or individual will have a desire to move away from that problem or point of pain. So, as a salesperson, we need to understand the requirements of the business, especially areas where they are experiencing challenges or pain. But we also said that the desire to move towards pleasure is also as motivating. At a personal level, we often work all year round to raise the money to go on vacation and visit somewhere interesting, or do something we enjoy, or buy something that gives us pleasure. It's part of life, and therefore it's part of business, because businesses are run by people. It's important that you do understand that there are two sides to this, because although focusing on the pain is extremely important, too often salespeople only focus on fixing problems for a business, rather than look at the positive side and how the business can proactively realize additional pleasure, i.e., more revenue, be more effective, more competitive, whatever it might be. Now, addressing both of these areas gives you more areas to explore in your conversations and questioning. But here's a top tip. Out of these two motivators, pain does have a stronger influence on us. It's part of our self-preservation psychology. As an example, would you work harder to earn an extra £10,000 or protect £10,000 you already had that somebody was trying to take away? In fact, you would work harder to protect the potential loss. Think about it. If you were in a challenging financial position, let's say your home was about to be repossessed, you would fight and do whatever it takes to prevent losing your home, and even more so if you have a family. And let's compare that to the choice of working to realize the pleasure of earning more money so you could buy and move into a bigger or nicer home. Why wouldn't you have the same drive and determination? If it's something you truly love to have, why are you not as motivated? Well, in this situation, even though you would like the nicer things in life, it's because doing the extra work, the longer hours, the increased commitment it might take, etc., these are more painful than not doing it. And as I said, pain has the upper hand when motivating anybody to do anything. So the pain of doing the extra work required is greater than the pleasure to be realized by actually doing it. So when you've got a customer who has agreed they like your proposition, who has recognized the value the business could realize, but still decides not to go ahead, quite often it's because the pain of doing so is greater than the pleasure to be realized. The risk of implementing a new system, the disruption it will cause to the business, or the potential impact on customer service are examples of things that could go wrong. If you've been in selling for any period of time, this may have been a situation you've experienced, and now hopefully you understand why. So as you see, these two buying motivators, pain and pleasure, have a big impact on why people buy or not. And this is only the first of our 3. So how can I use this information to benefit me in any given sales situation, you ask? Well, just make sure you explore both angles. If you are exploring through your line of questioning a particular problem or challenge a customer is experiencing and unearthing lots of areas of pain, ensure you also explore areas of pleasure the customer would realise if the problem was fixed. You'll get much, much greater leverage. Likewise, if you have identified some area of benefit or pleasure or a potential customer might realise from your product or service, ensure you also ask questions about any pain that might be experienced in trying to achieve this. Now, you might be thinking at this point, but if I do this, I might put the customer off and unsell my proposition. And you might be right. But remember, qualification is key in selling. So wouldn't it be better to know this now rather than down the road when you've invested more time, more effort, and more resources? And what if, by addressing this, you actually create a better proposition because of it? You might identify other areas of benefit, unearth other points of pain, and actually increase your chances of winning the business over your competition and potentially remove any objections. You can only win, and that's what selling is all about. Another thing to consider when exploring areas of potential pleasure is to also explore the pain from not taking action. Leverage the fear of loss. So in closing, remember, humans need to move away from pain and have the desire to move towards pleasure. Address these two areas and you're guaranteed to be more successful. So for now, I'll say goodbye and invite you to join me in the following episode as we continue to look at why people buy.